She looked like everyone's grandmother. Sweet, quiet, polite, the kind of woman who bakes cookies and offers tea. But behind those thick glasses and soft smile was a deadly secret. One that lay buried, literally, beneath her rose bushes. This is the true story of Dorothea Puente, the woman who preyed on the weak, the forgotten, and the vulnerable, and how she almost got away with murder. The serial killer grandma. The chilling crimes of Dorothea Puente. Who was Dorothea Puente? Dorothea Helen Gray was born in Redlands, California, in 1929. Her childhood was far from idyllic. Her father died when she was just 8 years old. Her mother soon followed. By age 10, Dorothea was an orphan, sent to live in foster homes that were often cold, cruel, and neglectful. By her teens, she was already lying about her age to escape. She married at 16, but the union was short-lived. Over the years, Dorothea would marry at least 4 more times, each relationship ending in failure, abuse, or worse. We often see early trauma as a route for antisocial behavior later in life. But Dorothea was different. She wasn't just traumatized. She learned to manipulate very early. She reinvented herself constantly, posing as a doctor, a teacher, even a spiritual advisor. But it wasn't until the 1980s that her mask would take on its deadliest form, that of a sweet, elderly caregiver. The boarding house. In Sacramento, Dorothea opened a boarding house for the elderly and mentally ill. She offered room and board, food, and, most importantly, help. The government mailed her tenants Social Security checks directly. Dorothea claimed she used them for rent and care. But in truth, she pocketed most of the money. She always wore a dress, always polite. She would say hello, offer baked goods. We never suspected a thing. But soon, tenants began to disappear. Dorothea always had an explanation. They moved. They had family visits. They didn't want to be contacted. Most of them didn't have close relatives, so no one followed up. For a while, no one asked questions, until a social worker named Judy Moise noticed something wasn't right. Judy was responsible for checking in on the mentally ill and elderly. One of her clients, Alvaro Bert Montoya, lived in Dorothea's home. A shy man with schizophrenia, Bert was quiet, but he never missed their appointments. Then he disappeared. Dorothea said he'd gone to Mexico with family, but Judy knew something was off. Felt it in my gut. Something wasn't right. I called the police. The discovery. On November 11th, 1988, Sacramento police arrived at the home. Dorothea was calm, friendly, cooperative. She even gave us permission to dig in her backyard. First, they found one body, then another, and another. By the time the digging stopped, they had uncovered 7 bodies. The fugitive grandma. While investigators were still uncovering the backyard graves,
Dorothea Puente vanished.
She fled to Los Angeles, blending in easily. She checked into a hotel and struck up a conversation with a man in a bar. She seemed nice, said her name was Donna, but something about her felt off. Then I saw her face on TV. He called the police. Dorothea Puente's run was over. Trial and media storm. In 1993, Dorothea Puente stood trial for 9 murders. Prosecutors laid out the grisly details. Victims poisoned with sleeping pills. Checks stolen. Bodies buried in the yard. She pleaded not guilty. She murdered them for money. Pure and simple. The jury convicted her on 3 counts of murder. She was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. They were mothers, brothers, daughters. Some struggled with illness or poverty, but they were loved. Their stories deserve to be remembered. Legacy and final days. Dorothea Puente died in 2011 at age 82. She never admitted guilt. In her final interviews, she insisted she had done nothing wrong. But the evidence buried in her backyard told a different story. Dorothea Puente was convicted of 3 murders, but suspected in at least 6 more. Her former home has since been renovated, but its past remains a dark chapter in Sacramento's history.